Human colonels. They think the universe bends to their schedules, their orders, and their surprisingly fragile egos. Colonel J. Jack O'Neill was scraping a living on the far-off planet Korath 9, a remote outpost in what some humans ignorantly call the Outback. Korath 9 is not forgiving. Its twin suns scorch the plains by day, while by night the dust storms whine like a dying metal beast. Jack spent his days salvaging old starship wrecks, turning debris into fuel, tools, and enough credit to pay for food. He had no idea he was being watched. And then she appeared. Not a mere fox, as humans might think. A fox-skinned female, fur patterned like the twilight sky, ears twitching nervously as she approached the outpost. I, Valthira, have been alive for millennia. I have seen dynasties rise and fall, stars explode, and wars consume planets. And yet, watching my daughter, my princess, though she has no idea, yet tiptoe across Korath 9 was hilarious. Jack, naturally, barely noticed. "You're lost?" he asked eventually, which is my favorite kind of human statement. Entirely accurate, but phrased as a question. "Yes," she replied softly. "And hungry." I rolled my eyes so hard my centuries-old bones almost creaked. Helping a foxskin on Korath 9 is not like helping a human. They refuse charity outright, and they are ridiculously fast and clever. Jack tried anyway. He scavenged a small shelter and tried to explain human cooking. My daughter politely endured burnt protein cubes and nearly set the shelter on fire 3 times. "You can't just heat everything," she said, shaking her tail. "You'll kill it," he frowned. "I didn't think you could kill toast." Ah, the universe has a sense of humor. Days passed, slowly, unimpressively, by my standards. My daughter, whose name I'll keep secret for now, began learning his limits. She taught him how to scavenge efficiently and survive a dust storm. He taught her about human stubbornness and, somehow, laughter. My daughter had forgotten that laughter can be the sharpest weapon. Their small victories were tiny, sweet, and by some miracle, neither of them had burned the shelter to the ground. Yet, the first real breakthrough was not technical. It was trust. During a particularly violent dust storm, Jack dragged her into the salvage hut, and she did something unthinkable. She rested her head against his shoulder. I nearly died of astonishment. "Are you always this reckless?" she murmured. "Only when someone might need saving," he said. Ah, that human arrogance again. And yet, there it was, the beginning of a partnership. Jack insisted on his daily salvage run, and naturally, my daughter joined. Not because she needed the scraps, but because she enjoyed watching him curse at malfunctioning scanners. "Hold it steady," Jack shouted, fumbling with a grav lift. "Or what?" she asked, tail twitching. "Or I'll invent a new swear word." I laughed. By the end, they returned with a few usable items and the undeniable truth. They made a surprisingly good team. Night on Korath 9 is cold. Jack built a fire while my daughter told him stories of her people, the Foxkin Empire, a civilization of cunning rulers and expansive trade networks. He listened with rapt attention, asking stupid questions. "Wait, so you're royalty?" "Not exactly," she said lightly. Later, when she nodded off mid-story, Jack gently draped a blanket over her shoulders. "That, my dears, is when humans become terribly endearing. Of course, the universe never lets things go smoothly." A violent dust storm blew through while they were miles from the outpost. Visibility zero, machinery failing, and Jack stubbornly insisting they knew the way back. They didn't. By the time they crawled back to the outpost, covered in dust and slightly bruised, they were laughing. "Next time," my daughter said, "we use maps." "Maps are boring," Jack replied. "Predictable stubbornness. Exactly what I like in a human." After the storm, life settled into small victories, repairing machines, organizing supplies, and surviving minor equipment explosions. At night, they would sit side by side, sharing stories. Jack never admitted it, but his human heart warmed whenever she spoke. The first real sign of progress wasn't a tool or a machine, it was trust. Jack left her alone for a moment while gathering supplies, and she didn't vanish. She stayed. She even brace yourself smiled. Later, when Jack returned, tired and dusty, she nudged him gently. "Thanks," she whispered. My immortal heart quivered ever so slightly. And that, dear readers, is the precise moment a human colonel and a foxkin refugee begin their inevitable journey. One morning, a patrol from the Foxkin Empire arrived. Royal guards, armored in fox-patterned plasma mesh. My daughter froze. "Relax," Jack said, though he had no clue who they were. The patrol demanded to know why a foxkin was living in the outback alone. Jack, bless him, fumbled with his communicator. She's my companion?" "Yes, that will go over well with the royal guard." While they debated, my daughter whispered stories of her lineage to Jack. "So, you're kind of a big deal?" he asked. "Yes," she said lightly. "But don't get any ideas, human. Of course, the galaxy is rarely polite. A sand pirate gang attacked the outpost." Jack grabbed a plasma blaster, and my daughter lit up her tail flames. By the time the skirmish ended, the pirates had fled, leaving Jack exhilarated and slightly singed, and my daughter amused. Later, sitting by the repaired fire pit, Jack offered her a small melted chocolate bar. "You don't like chocolate," she said. "I thought maybe you'd try it," he stammered. I nearly erupted in laughter. Nothing is more entertaining than a human trying to court a fox princess with candy. They laughed, truly laughed together, and for the first time my daughter's tail flicked in a manner I could only interpret as pleasure. The next morning, Jack fixed a solar array. She repaired a grav lift, and together they made the desert slightly more hospitable. "Stay with me," Jack said quietly. My daughter glanced at me. "Yes, mother," her eyes said. "I think I might actually like this human." Finally. Progress. The relationship deepened. Jack brought a salvaged water purifier. My daughter discovered the joy of human ingenuity. "You're a tinkerer, not a god," she said, smirking. "Yet here I am," Jack replied, proudly holding a solar panel patched with duct tape and hope. Human pride. So fragile, so adorable. But the universe never allows happiness without interference. An envoy from the Foxkin Empire arrived, not for diplomacy, but to retrieve the princess. The envoy challenged Jack to prove his intentions. Through a combination of clever negotiation and a large amount of bluster, Jack convinced them he was committed. He was lucky the guards had never met me, otherwise he would have been mildly roasted. By the end, they were alone again under the starlight. Finally, the moment we've all been waiting for. Under the dying light, Jack and my daughter sat atop a small ridge. "I care for you," he admitted. His human awkwardness was almost unbearable to witness, but also absolutely charming. My daughter's tail flicked in amusement. I care for you too. You irritating human. And there it was. The spark ignited. I exhaled smoke, amused, and muttered, finally. Took long enough. Ah, humans and their dramatic gestures. Jack decided to propose atop the tallest sand dune on Korath 9. Really? On a dusty dune? My daughter teased. Yes, he said earnestly. It's symbolic. Like surviving the galaxy together. Sweet, clumsy human. When he knelt, she finally laughed and accepted. The wedding was an odd spectacle. Human-style vows, Fox traditional ceremonial flames, and the occasional sandstorm. I attended, invisible to human eyes, perched on a cliff to judge their choices. Jack stumbled through the vows, tripped over his own boots, and somehow didn't set anything on fire. A small miracle. Soon, the galaxy blessed them with 2 children. Jack was terrified at first. How do humans survive this? He whispered one night. By learning fast, my daughter replied. I watched from the shadows. Humans are absurd, but effective when guided by fox wisdom. And now comes the fun part. I, Valthira, finally made my presence known, swooping down in a swirl of silver fur and ancient laughter. Surprise, I announced. Jack nearly fell over. You didn't tell me you were royalty, he gasped. And you didn't tell me you survived sandstorms in style, I countered. Yes, my daughter is a princess of the Foxkin Empire. There would be no struggles for money or imperial expectations, just quiet, well-earned happiness. The outpost became a true home. Jack, once a lone scavenger, now had a family. I sighed, curling my tail. Humans are loud and clumsy, but sometimes they deserve happiness. Korath 9 became a place of laughter, warmth, and starfire. As for me, I stayed nearby, sarcastic commentary included, reminding Jack that he owes me for surviving centuries of Fox politics. The galaxy could throw what it wanted at them, but this family had love, unity, and me, a very grumpy, very sarcastic Fox Queen watching their backs. And that, dear readers, is the definition of a happy ending. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more stories.